Hello and welcome. My name is LIvia Kohn. I'm the executive editor of Three Press. And today I'm very excited to introduce our new project. We are starting to publish a series of 3 edited volumes on the topic of Daoism and the understanding of time. And our first volume is out right now, coming out in early January. And it is called Dao and TIme, Classical Philosophy. And I'm very pleased to have with us today Jing Liu, who is one of our contributors and who teaches philosophy, Chinese philosophy at the University of Hawaii. Welcome, Professor Liu.
Thank you, Dr. LIvia Kohn. Oh, I'll just say, I am right now an associate professor at a Department of Chinese at Sun Yat-sen University, Zhuhai. Not University.
Oh, but you are in Hawaii.
Yes, I am here because of the pandemic at this time.
Oh, okay.
Right.
That's good. That leads me right to my first question. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and where you're originally from and how you got interested in Chinese philosophy and what your position is right now?
Yes, of course. Well, my background is in Chinese philosophy and continental philosophy and comparative philosophy. So I earned 2 masters and 1 PhD. So the 2 masters were done, one in China, one in the US. Preaching Confucianism, Neo Confucianism, and Heidegger were the focus of my master's training in China. So my interest moved on to Daoism after I came to the US. And so I earned my PhD at University of Hawaii here at the philosophy department. So my PhD thesis is on Daoism.
Oh, very good. Thank you. Okay, good. So are your plans to stay in Hawaii more longer, or once the pandemic is over, you plan to return to China, or what is your vision of the future?
Yeah, I'm getting back pretty soon, about in January for next semester's teaching.
You will be returning to China for next semester's teaching. Oh, okay.
Right.
And where will you be in China?
This is in Zhuhai, Sun Yat-sen University, Zhuhai campus.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. In the south of China.
Oh, yeah. Close to Hong Kong.
Yes. North. Yeah. Okay. Good. Oh, very nice. Yeah, it'll be warm. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then so you will be able to go back. So they let you back into the country.
Yeah, I need a new document. That's why I've been waiting for the new document. And right.
And then you may have to quarantine for 2 weeks or something.
I will have to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. One of our other contributors, Sharon Small, she teaches at China Eastern University in Shanghai, but she's she's in Israel right now, and she is she won't be able to go back until next fall. So they're extending her online. She teaches online right now, and she's going to continue doing online.
That's good too. Yeah.
Because she's not a citizen, so it's a little more difficult for her to get.
Sharon. Yeah. She has to get a new document nowadays. I think new visa.
Yeah, everybody needs new visas. That's right. Yeah.
Right.
So. All right. So tell us a little bit more about. It's a fascinating trajectory. You come from Confucianism, and then you went through Western thought into Heidegger and all these very high, complicated thinkers, and then you now study Taoism. So within the Taoist tradition, which of the Taoist texts and thinkers did you find most interesting?
I focus on early Taoism, Lao Tzu and Zhuangzi, and my dissertation nature and 自然 in early Daoist thinking is a study on 自然 in early Daoism.
Oh, okay. And so how would you define 自然?
Oh my, that's my whole project. Yeah. So it's a good chance to introduce my work then. I have to say, need some introduction of my dissertation, PhD dissertation, sorry. So it was actually inspired by an environmental course I took. The relation between nature and humans has been reflected by various philosophers, especially environmental philosophers. However, we often found that the very meaning of nature has not been brought to light in these philosophies.
Mm-hmm.
So the question of my dissertation is simple: what is nature? So that's what brought me to 自然, actually. So against the subjectification of nature, it seeks ways out of modernity by exploring the concept of 自然 in early Daoism. What is 自然? That's the whole project. It presents 自然 as a way of living that penetrates different realms of the heavenly, the earthly, and the human, right? And so it is with as we know, Daoism use 自然 to express, directly translated as literally it is 自 means self, 然 means sowing or going, right? It's translated as self sowing, self going, or actually spontaneity too, and it is used to translate nature too. So this is a key word key term in early Daoism, obviously, and together with like Dao and De, it is actually interestingly to use to describe Dao, the 自然 of Dao, and we can talk about the 自然 of things, right? Which means nature of things, actually.
Right. And the way things naturally move and unfold.
Yeah.
Brings us to this issue of time. So in our volume, which focuses on time, you're looking at the different qualities of 自然 and development and unfolding within the Taoist universe in relation to the temporal dimension of things. And so you're distinguishing things like transience and permanence and the different aspects, like this whole concept that, of course, is a classic in Western thought, is the concept of duration. And then, of course, Heidegger has a lot to say about time. I mean, being and time, being his major work. So if you would explain a little bit of what you say and what your point is in the paper and the book, that would be good.
Sure. So in 自然, I just want to say one more thing about 自然, that is, it is used to describe humans too, right? It is an ideal of our human freedom, that is 自然, right? In Daoism. So that actually is connected with permanence and transience in time in the Dao De Jing, the research. It's actually part of my dissertation. I got really fascinated with this theme of permanence and transience. So this essay investigates time in the Dao De Jing through the perspective of permanence and transience. In my view, there is a misunderstanding about Chinese philosophy, that is, it is not interested in permanence, right? right? So it does not talk about permanence. Permanence is in Western philosophy, but I would say it is as interested as Western philosophy, just that it talks about it in a different way. Now, if we think about it, the fact is demanded by our evanescent existence. We desire permanence and we desire to be one with it. And so we can see two important points here already. From the simple phenomenon, firstly, the dualism between permanence and transience is quite natural. Secondly, permanence, all time, and the self are already tightly connected in the disclosing of 自然, or nature, I would say. So as is known to all, the permanence and transience are separated into two different realms in Plato, right? But I would say, contrary to a history critique, it is nonetheless significant in that it really depicts this common existence of being a human, you know. A permanence is rarely encountered in our everyday life. But as a contrast, I argue that in early Daoist philosophy, time is the unity of permanence and transience, which I call the sameness of them.
Sameness of them.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Yes, and I can see how there's permanence, but permanence does not necessarily mean static. It does not necessarily mean stagnation.
Exactly. Right.
So you can have like a strong sense of continuity, where like your chi or your energy, it flows in a certain way. Your zuran just sort of keeps on moving along, and there is a sense of continuity and of stability, but that doesn't mean that it's stagnation or static.
Yeah, in Daoism, actually, permanence is never going to be experienced in as some kind of stagnation, because what is stagnation cannot persist. 恒, right? That's the term that is used in the Dao De Jing for permanence. But at the same time, it gives us a sense of 周流不虚, right? Running around and never ending.
Yeah. Very fascinating. So there's a link to what other people would translate, what you'd say of permanence. Some people might translate constancy or steadiness or things, things of that sort.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's a very, very important concept, and it's absolutely essential. And it's like even in the first chapter of the Dao De Jing, it's the characteristic of Dao, Chang Dao, right?
Right. 恒道 in the 帛书, right? Exactly.
There's that permanence, that underlying stability and constancy that is really present in Dao De Jing. And so it's a very fascinating contribution based on a very fascinating research. And there's time and again, there's recourse and comparison to some Western thinkers. So the paper is absolutely fascinating, as is your research in general. And again, very happy to have you here today. So again, the book is called Dao and TIme, Classical Philosophy, and you can find it on our website, which is threepinespress.com. And so again, thank you, Professor Liu, for joining us.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kohn. Thank you.